Good morning. It is day 7 of the Pause Project, and I wanted to welcome you here. I would really love to know how you guys are doing so far. So, if you have an opportunity, you could put some comments in the chat here and we can gather those up. If you have questions, that's a good place to put those. And you can even do it later. You don't have to do it now while we're live. And that'll help us kind of guide the next half of our sessions together. I've got plenty of information and content to use for our next few times, but if you have something specific, I'd love to hear it. And make sure that you stay tuned so that you can be with us on Friday, as we will have Amy Stevens from one of our friendly yoga studios here in town, the Union. And she's going to be talking about using the breath as an anchor and different ways to do that during meditation. So we're excited to have her. So please tune in next time. And this morning, I wanted to talk a little bit more about what we're doing with our thoughts and what are we going to think about them and why do we have so many and different little aspects of that. So, when we think about why we are doing this and the things that you're going to start noticing, one of the things we might start to notice is that consciousness, which is basically all the thoughts and all the little things that make up what's going on in the mind, and pure awareness, which would be just the base of who you really are, the base of you without any influence or worries or future tripping or past thoughts about what has happened, just the base of who you truly are, that those two things are separate. And the way you can think about that is I am not my thoughts. I am not what I am thinking about. And in meditation, I think that this starts to become a little more clear. The first thing that seems to become a little more clear is that there's always this constant chatter and it's separate from you and your mind. And the easiest way that I've ever been able to understand this concept, it was actually Michael Singer who wrote about it in his book, and he's got lots of books. But he said, if you want to try to find how to understand how separate that is, you can simply close your eyes and say to yourself in your mind, hello, 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 and ask yourself the question, who's saying hello and who is listening? And that's a very simple way in my mind to go, oh, I am listening. There is a watcher and there is the thoughts that are going on out in front of that. And I can watch those things. So once you know that there's a separation there, you can start being able to notice when you can watch your thoughts or when you are just lost in thought and just getting carried away on the bus. And so once you can create that separation, you can kind of notice that there's some insight about that and it can carry over into daily life. That you can take a moment to pause and you can observe having an emotion, whether it's a strong emotion or not. You can take a minute and watch that and know that that emotion is not necessarily who you truly are. And when you can make that separation, you can make different choices about how you respond to others, about what's the right action versus maybe not the best action for you. And once you can start making those changes, life gets different. And when we have a hard time keeping up with our practice, we need some things that we start to go, oh, this is making a difference. There are things that are providing some energy to the faith I have about that this practice is a good practice. And so none of this can happen in the realization side of things unless you are doing this practice regularly. And I know that I keep saying that in some of these videos, and it's kind of like, yeah, Sarah, I'm here. And I am very grateful that you are. But the more regularly that you do this, the easier you start to be able to be the watcher and be the noticer, and it trickles out. So keep the faith. It's what's going to provide the energy to your sustained effort here. And while these videos are focused on meditation, I'll keep reminding you that the asana practices, the practice of moving your body, really does make this easier. It makes it easier to settle. It keeps the body from taking you out. And even if it's not asana practice, asana is not the only way to move your body. But if you have a practice that is a mindful practice, it allows the body to move and you progressively work through that. I think those are all still good practices. A lot of people who run really get in a focused state. But we also need a balancing practice on the other side where we are getting some mobility so that we can also sit. We need strength and we need mobility to be able to sit for long periods of time. And even just not even long periods of time, even just 10 minutes can be a challenge for the body. And then the other practice that we will hopefully have another series on the other side of this series, go back to our pranayama or breath work or breath control. The breathing, as we've been talking about using as an anchor, where we're just observing it, also can be used as a physical practice where you're controlling the rate and movement of the breath. And that is a nice way to start, to have a little bit more of a physical task before you are just watching. And so these practices can be intertwined, they can lead into one another, they can be in conjunction with one another. And those things all seem to help create a state of more mindfulness, being able to be present and pay attention to what is. And so keep the faith, keep doing it. See if you can notice that there is a difference and a separation when you notice that you're having a thought this morning, that you can watch that thought versus just be carried off on it, versus, oh, dang it, I'm thinking again, back to the object. Have a moment of gratitude that you can go, oh, look at that. I can watch that thought move across and I don't have to go with it. So let's begin. Let's find a comfortable seat. Maybe you are, again, sitting on a surface with your hips elevated above your knees. Maybe you have your feet on the floor and you're sitting in a chair upright. But just find some kind of position where you can be here for a little bit. And if it's comfortable for you, let's close our eyes and just fill the lungs for a breath or two and have a moment of something that feels like gratitude for the opportunity to practice. And again, we start with noticing any sounds that the ears can pick up. Noticing any far away sounds. And then noticing any sounds that are closer to you in the room. Maybe you are noticing cars on the street or people stirring in the house. Maybe you heard my little dog make her debut. But let the sounds just be sounds. Not good sounds, not bad sounds. And let the sounds trickle in and cause you to think about something that you need to do. Again, it's just another opportunity to say thinking or oh well. And notice the separation between the thought and watching it and you and your object. And if you're choosing the breath this morning, you can start to notice the sensation of the breath as it moves in and moves out. And if you're using a mantra, you can begin that now. Mantra might be like, inhale, I know I'm breathing in. And exhale, I know I'm breathing out. Or it could be as simple as the word peace. And saying that word in your mind on every exhale. Whatever you choose, try to stick with it. Try to soften to any sensations that happen at the body. And bring your mind back to watching thoughts over and over and over again this morning. You'll hear a starting bell, an interval bell, and a finishing bell. Slowly begin to bring your awareness back to your body, making some small movements, maybe turning right and left. Maybe rounding the head forward, lifting the chest, and bringing the palms together, rubbing the hands and cupping them over the eyes, allowing the light in as you open your eyes inside your hands, and slowly let them release down to your lap. Thank you for joining us. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Again, if you have a couple of moments to journal or write about your experience this morning, it can help. If you had a bunch of thoughts and if you put a pin in them instead of letting them carry you away, you could journal now about some of those things that might have come up and you might have had some insight about. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and please join us for our next guest speaker on Friday, and we'll see you again soon.